Baker Mayfield, he said, F you, you effing whatever to the fan in Seattle. This dude is an MVP quarterback. He is my quarterback. He is the baddest quarterback in the NFL right now. And after he beats the Seattle Seahawks, he goes back and he continues to talk to the fans. How do you not love Baker Mayfield? And how do you not love the Buccaneers -3 this weekend against the San Francisco 49ers? That is my first pick of our 5 spread picks this week. Grant, you want me to start it off?
Yeah, well, I mean, you just did.
Well, I need more of an intro here because Baker Mayfield is that freaking guy. I love Baker Mayfield. He is by far the MVP of the season. At the season end today, I don't know why Josh Allen's +100. All Josh Allen has done is turn the football over. Maybe not, but he hasn't played well. He just has not been as good as Baker Mayfield. The late fourth quarter touchdown drives, Baker Mayfield, I believe 12 touchdowns on the year. He's just been fantastic. And I think when you look at the San Francisco 49ers right now, they are not in a position to hang with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're not healthy. That's really hurt them. We see it. They're struggling against weak teams where the Buccaneers, Emeka Egbuka, just an absolute gem. It doesn't matter if Mike Evans is on the field. They found their new Mike Evans in Emeka Egbuka. Bucky Irving, it doesn't matter if he plays or not because you have Rachaad White and you have an elite passing game. And defensively, they're still starting to come together a little bit, but they looked good. They made the stop when they needed to down the stretch. You got to clean a lot up. But the San Francisco 49ers are not going to light you up through the air like the Seattle Seahawks. So they find ways to win on defense. Offensively, they're loaded. And we need to put it in perspective, too, that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not healthy right now. You're still missing a ton of guys. So when you factor all that in, I just love -3 as they continue to get healthier. They continue to gel more. Emeka Egbuka is going to be a first-team All-Pro this year. He's going to have a huge game against the 49ers. Buccaneers -3 at home.
So I think this is a really good pick. We got our 5 picks that we're going to share from Sunday. I didn't include this on here, but I can tell you this is my pick, and I will be betting this personally because I agree with you. The 49ers, you're talking about the Buccaneers are injured, and you're correct, but the 49ers are also injured. And while I don't really think the injuries are affecting the Bucs greatly, I think they can still get better. I don't think it's affecting them greatly. 49ers injuries are affecting them. Now, I got to give credit to your guy, Mac Jones, because he has completely revitalized his career. He's actually looked like a starting level quarterback. He's looked better than Brock Purdy has this season. But I still look at those other injuries, the Nick Bosa one obviously being the biggest one of them all, and I look at what the Buccaneers can be and what they have been and how consistent they've become. Even when Baker first left Cleveland, even towards the end of his time in Cleveland, it was like he has these high peaks, but he's got low lows, and he's got mistakes. Then his first year with the Buccaneers, it's 41 touchdowns, but it's also 16 interceptions, whatever it was. Well, now I don't look at Baker as a loose cannon anymore. I look at him as a guy who's legitimately a gunslinger, slinging it in there. Yeah, he'll make his mistakes every now and then. We saw that at the end of the Eagles game, but he's done a fantastic job this season. And if you ask me right now, what is the MVP race? I'm with you. I don't know how Josh Allen's +100. My MVP race right now is Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, and Sam Darnold. That's my top 3 in the MVP race.
Baker's down to +950. He was +1200 last week. I should probably put a little money on that because, the biggest fear is Baker Mayfield leads the Bucs to the playoffs, but they kind of get back to where they've usually been. They're like a 10-7 team. They're a 9-8 team, which I don't think is going to happen this year just because of the wins that they've already picked up. But there is no doubt in my mind Baker Mayfield is going to continue slinging the football. The interceptions have been cut down. There were a few games early in the season where he definitely should have thrown at least an interception in each game. But, the one interception he threw against the Eagles was tipped. It was still a dumb decision. Overall, he's been fantastic. There's no reason that Baker Mayfield is not going to win MVP this season.
And they're relatively close to being an undefeated team right now. They could have won that Eagles game.
Oh, definitely. They should have won the Eagles game. That shouldn't, right? Like they had opportunities. The Eagles also gave them a lot of opportunities, but the Buccaneers are right where they should be right now, 4-1. They're by far the best team in the NFC South. They're going to run away with that division. They're going to continue to put up big numbers. It's only going to get better as Cade Otton starts to catch the ball. Mike Evans returns. Chris Godwin looked good. Like that's what people forgot about this week. Everyone's like, oh, Mike Evans is out and they haven't won a football game without Mike Evans and blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. You got Emeka Egbuka and Chris Godwin. You're still all set. Oh, no Bucky Irving? Who cares? You still got Rachaad White. Rachaad White's still a legitimate starting running back in the NFL. So they're loaded.
We talked about this before the season. We said the Buccaneers could easily have the best offense in the NFL.
they have drafted so well. They've put together such a consistent football team, and even on defense. And I know they had a terrible week on defense against the Seahawks, but they have so much talent on the defensive side of the ball. You lost Kalijah Kancey for the year. That makes a big difference, but you still have Vita Vea, Levante David, Yaya Diaby. And the defense didn't make plays for most of the game, but when they had to, they made the big play. So, I give the Buccaneers credit on all sides of the ball. This is a team that could be in the NFC Championship game if they get a good draw in the playoffs. There's no doubt about it.
Easily. It makes me laugh so hard when people are like, oh, I didn't know Emeka Egbuka was going to be this good. You didn't think Ohio State's all-time leading receiver was going to be good in the NFL? Yeah, good job.
Well, I didn't think he was going to be this good. I don't think you can expect first-team All-Pro in your rookie season.
Well, he's not first-team All-Pro right now, but he's a Pro Bowler.
He's first-team All-Pro right now.
No, I disagree.
He is first-team All-Pro right now. Who's first-team All-Pro in the NFC?
Well, it's not based on NFC AFC, is it?
Yeah.
No, it's just league wide.
All right. So how many receivers do you get? 3?
It's 2. Is it 2 or 3? Because that could change the answer here. 2024
All-Pro team wide receiver. You get 1, 2, 3.
Okay. So Puka Nacua is 1. Jackson Smith and Jigba is probably number 2. And then actually this season, I mean, like obviously normally Justin Jefferson would be up there. He is still up there certainly this season. Jamar Chase normally would be up there, but he's not up there this season. AJ Brown and CeeDee Lamb and Malik Neighbors would be up there, but they're not this season. Maybe he's in consideration with like Amon-Ra. Garrett Wilson's had a really good year. Yeah, maybe Egbuka is in consideration.
He's got 5 touchdowns and he's got 445. He's going to be a second-team All-Pro if he's not a first-team All-Pro right now if he keeps his pace. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
So you can't expect All-Pro in your first season. He's going to win run away with Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's not even close right now. So
Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt's coming for him.
No, not even close. Not even. I don't have awards up right now. Oh, there we go. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Emeka Egbuka plus 105. Bang.
Yeah.
Not even close.
It should be his award.
Yeah.
Let me give you my first pick here. Right. So I'm gonna go international. Go over to Britain. I was actually at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when I was in London in April, so I've seen the venue here. It's a gorgeous stadium. It's for the arch rival of my favorite soccer team, so it pains me to admit it, but it's a beautiful stadium. I'm going to take the New York Jets to cover the spread, plus 7.5 against the Denver Broncos. Now, I know this sounds crazy because the Broncos did just beat the Eagles and because the Jets don't have a win this season. I get it. First of all, just want a gentle reminder. This is not me saying the Jets are better than the Broncos. I don't need the Jets to win this game. I need them to not lose by more than a touchdown. And I think that they can do that. So Justin Fields' numbers this season have actually been pretty solid. One of my favorite stats, and it's nerdy, but it's called success rate. Success rate is a measure of staying ahead of the chains, basically. The Jets' defense is quietly 6th in success rate, yet as far as points allowed, scoring efficiency, they're extremely low. So they do a good job of winning on a down-to-down basis, but then they just give up these big plays that completely tank their numbers or lose them games. Offense is a similar story. They're consistently ahead of the chains, but it's the opposite. They don't produce the chunk plays, and that's why they've not been able to win games. But when you look at some of the numbers, again, Justin Fields has had a solid year statistically. Breece Hall, very quietly, has been the most explosive player in the league. He's got, I think, 11 plus or 20 plus. The next closest is 7. So he's doing his job. This offense can move the ball. Aaron Glenn, you were talking about new coaches having a tough time sticking around. New coach, the team doesn't have a win. I don't feel like they've given up on him, and I feel like they continue to make games close. I understand that sometimes they haven't, like they got blown up by the Bills. There are a couple others in there, but I feel like they can do it. I always call international games the great equalizer. You're getting that. The Broncos coming off of a high, and Bo Nix, they won the game, and Bo Nix made plays down the stretch, but Bo Nix still has not had one good game front to back this season. So Broncos win, but Jets cover the 7.5.
I don't hate it because it's an international game, but like you hate Bo Nix. Bo Nix is still really good at football. He's better than Justin Fields at football. Justin Fields is also like I think it's 0-25 or something.
0-26 now.
When teams score 21 plus, so all you have to do is score 21 plus to beat them. Aaron Glenn hasn't been the same since he did that little funky dance after.
That was an incredible moment.
That looks so stupid. You're going to look back when he inevitably gets fired, because he will get fired in the next 3 years. And you're going to look back on that moment and be like, this was the peak of New York Jets football. This was the Aaron Glenn. This was the peak of the Aaron Glenn era, was a blocked kick before Baker Mayfield ripped your heart out. That's the peak of what this man is going to do in New York. That's not saying I don't like him. That's just saying that it's tough to win in New York. It's tough to be a head coach in New York. The expectations are high. I don't think he's going to live up to the expectations, especially with Justin Fields as your quarterback, who you can't win if a team scores 21 plus. So I because it's an international game, anything can happen international wise. The Browns almost covered last week. I'll take the 7, but yeah, I don't love the pick. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I'm not going to start my day off with a 9:30 football bet on that game, because I don't see it going well.
Well, I am. So I'll report back. We'll talk about what happens.
Cool.
And I will say this, Tanner, last week's show, and you're getting killed for it in the comments on the YouTube short that we put out there, I told you the Carolina Panthers were going to beat the Dolphins, and you didn't want to hear it from me.
That was close. I didn't really watch that game. I don't concern myself. I don't concern myself with like dog water football teams, so I didn't really pay attention to it. So all the people in the comment section, I didn't even watch the game. But yeah, I didn't really care about that one. The
Dolphins were up 17-0. Bryce Young threw just a terrible interception. He fumbled it in his own like 10-yard line. And I picked the Panthers. Get this. I picked the Panthers as my survivor pick of the week. I said, because I was torn between the Panthers and the Saints, and they both actually ended up winning. But the Saints was a little more sweat-free. Watching that Panthers game, I was like, they were down 17-0 within like the first 17, 18 minutes of the game. And then Tua and the Dolphins just crapped in their hands.
So I won that bet then, because if the team's up 17-0, it's not my fault that they lost the football game. Like
you didn't win.
It doesn't matter. But like if you're up 17-0, I won, because you should never. It's not my fault that they 17-0 lead. So I actually won that bet. So all the people in the comments section, it's not my fault that the Dolphins blew a 17-0 lead. They had the lead, they just couldn't finish it, but they should have won the game.
If you bet at like Bet365 or one of these sports books that offers an early payout, then you won, but not on some of the other ones.
So yeah, if you're up 17-0, you never should lose. Same thing with the Eagles last week. So my next pick here, speaking of DeMercado, who is never going to probably touch the football again for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm surprised he hasn't been cut yet. I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts -6.5 against the Arizona Cardinals. Emari DeMercado, I think we talked about this earlier. This has kind of created the end of what we know of Arizona Cardinals football today. There's teams that we trust to bounce back from moments like this, and there's teams that we don't. I don't know if you agree with this, Grant, but I would not trust the Arizona Cardinals to bounce back after that kind of performance. And, Jonathan Gannon punching Emari DeMercado on the sidelines, and Kyler Murray just really isn't a good quarterback. And we're starting to see that. I don't know why. I don't know how he was ever a NFL starting quarterback that we looked upon highly. And I don't know if we ever looked upon him like highly, but like he was a guy that like you always wanted to draft in fantasy. He was a guy that you talked about. Now he's just kind of resorted to being a short little quarterback that can't play football. They don't really use him in the run game. He's not aggressive down the field. He takes too long to process things. This is just a spot where the Indianapolis Colts are playing really well on offense and defense. Daniel Jones has made a career revival. He is saving Shane Steichen's job. And we've always said it about the Colts. They have so much talent around Daniel Jones on both sides of the ball. If he could be good, and he has been good, they're going to be just fine. They're dominating everyone in their path. They're going to keep it rolling this week against the Arizona Cardinals. They're at home. Arizona's got to travel across the country. It's just not a good spot for the Cardinals.
So I hear everything you're saying. This game's a stay away from me because I want to agree with you. That's my initial reaction. But then I do consider the fact that maybe you're right that you don't trust the Cardinals to bounce back. Not one of those teams. They're not good enough. But maybe Jonathan Gannon gets his team to clean up the fumbling issues. Maybe Kyler Murray just doesn't hand the ball to opponents. And what happens in that case? For me, this boils down to, can the Colts run the ball effectively, which is something they've done all season. But the Cardinals, for all of their flaws, they've actually got like a top 5, top 7 sort of run defense. So I think the winner of that battle determines who covers the spread. And honestly, I'm struggling to pick which side of that I fall on. So I will stay away while acknowledging that you have some sound logic behind your pick.
All right, what's your next one?
Okay, number 2 for me, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers -4 against the Miami Dolphins. Now, Marion Hampton headed to IR. That is obviously a big blow. The tackle situation, Herbert has been pressured. Let's see. So he was pressured 65 times over the last 3 weeks. Now, I don't know what the updated tally is. I know heading into last Sunday, he'd been pressured 45 times in the 2 weeks before. That was 11 more than the next closest, which is Joe Flacco at 34. So I imagine we're on a similar sort of trajectory where Herbert is getting pressured at just a far and away league high. I also saw a stat that Herbert, who's currently in his 6th season, is on pace to finish his 6th season with 30 more hits taken than Andrew Luck did. So from a career longevity piece, where are we at with Justin Herbert right now? That's a whole other can of worms. But what I am going to say is the Chargers, they lost 27-10 at home to the Commanders. That doesn't look good. If you weren't watching that game, you probably think, wow, they got dominated. And, the Commanders offense came alive. Jaden was really rusty the first quarter and a half, and then he kind of just flipped the script, and he looked like the MVP candidate from last season. But this game so easily could have been a blowout for the Chargers. They were up 10-0, scored on their first 2 possessions. The Commanders had a 3-and-out on their 1 possession between those. So they're off to a flying start. The Commanders then don't score again. Chargers get the ball back. There's a deep completion to Quentin Johnston for like 20-something yards. They're on the Commanders' side of the field, and Johnston fumbles. And from that moment on, it was like the whole script just flipped in the game. But there was even one point. I don't know if you saw the 50-yard completion from Jaden to Luke McCaffrey. That was one of the big highlights of the game. The play immediately before that, the Commanders had been stopped. They're punting out of their own end zone. Ladd McConkey returns it for a touchdown, gets called back for roughing the kicker. So 10-0, you fumble on the Commanders' side of the field. 17-7 going into halftime, you get it called back, and then you give up a 50-yard bomb. And then there were also 2 plays on the Chargers' first possession of the second half where they were 15, 20-plus yard completions on back-to-back plays, both called back by offensive penalties. So I say all this to say the Chargers scoring 10 points looks bad, but it could have been so much better had they not just shot themselves in the feet. They still have an elite defense, and we're looking at a Dolphins team that is wildly injured. They're on like their 6th string cornerbacks. They can't generate pressure. They literally cannot run the ball, and their favorite receiving option is a running back. And I trust Tua to turn the ball over more than I do Justin Herbert. So it took me a while to get here, but I say all this to say, don't give up on the Chargers. Are they at their best without Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater? Absolutely not. And will they miss a Marion Hampton? Yes. But are they 4 points better than the Dolphins? Of course they are.
Yeah, I love this pick. This is definitely one of my favorite picks of the week. I also have this one on my card just because of the fact that when you look at the Miami Dolphins right now, they're defeated. And once a team knows they're done, you're done. Like back when I look at how the Bills played against, or how the Dolphins played against the Bills a few weeks ago, that was still a point where, yeah, maybe Miami can recover. You find a way to win that game. They obviously didn't, but they kept it close. Tua just turned the ball over. Then you go lose, to the Panthers, how they did. And now you got the Chargers coming to town who have lost 2 straight games. This is a spot where the Chargers are in must-win territory because you have dropped 2 games and you've done so in pretty poor performances. On the flip side, Miami's just defeated and you're waiting to fire Mike McDaniels. That's the spot where this team is in right now. So I do like the Chargers here. I think the Chargers are just overall much better team. Doesn't matter about their injuries right now. Miami is a wounded duck, and the moment they're not going to get better until you fire the head coach. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and you talk about the Cardinals being a bad team. You don't trust them to respond. The Dolphins are a lot worse than the Cardinals, and they have more reason to give up, especially just blowing that 17-0 lead to the Panthers.
Definitely. All right, Grant. So that was my 3rd pick. That was your 3rd pick. So now you're
that was actually only my 2nd one. So I guess I'm up again.
Yeah, you're up again.
Okay. I'm gonna try to pick one because I have a feeling we might have a couple of the same ones. So I'm actually gonna try to pick one that I don't think you would take. I'll take the Raiders minus 4.5 against the Titans. Yeah, I know. You hate Geno Smith. You hate the Raiders. And up to this point in the season, you've been proven right on that battle because Geno, he's got like 9 interceptions in 5 games.
He's so bad. There's a reason he wasn't a starting quarterback for most of his career.
He looks terrible. So this is what I'll say here. The Titans clearly have the worst offense in the NFL. They've got a bottom 5, bottom 7 defense. Geno can even throw an interception in this game. Just don't throw 2+, and you can win this game. The Raiders defense has been right about league average, maybe a little bit better. Ashton Genty hasn't really gotten going. I get it. The offensive line has just been terrible, and Geno's giving the ball away. Like just literally, we talk about shooting yourself in the feet. Don't cut your own feet off, and you're better than the Titans. I remember when before the Titans-Cardinals game, you said that I don't think there's a team out there the Cardinals should be favored by a touchdown against. Like I don't think the Cardinals are a touchdown better than any team in this league. Yeah, and you're right. You're right because you took the Titans at plus 6.5, whatever it was, and the Titans won outright. But I don't think the Titans are within 6 points of any team in this league, really. I know they just won, but again, DeMarcado doesn't fumble the ball running into the end zone. We're not having this conversation. So, Geno, keep it under 2 interceptions, and you'll win and you'll cover this line.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat with you there. I think it's a spot where I do think the Raiders are better, but also you don't know what a win can do to a football team, right? Like, you don't know. I mean, the Titans were never supposed to be good, so them losing really doesn't impact them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you go to the Dolphins, a team that, hey, we need to win this year. This is a year where we got to win. A loss impacts them a little more than the Titans are like, hey, anytime we can play decent football, that's a win for us. Like we're going to keep getting better. This isn't our year in general. Now next year is probably more of a year where there's going to be some pressure on them. So my next pick, Grant, and I think one of my next 2 picks, I think we're both going to have because they just feel like they're picks that you can't resist on the board. And again, we don't talk about these before we come on here, but give me the Seattle Seahawks plus 1.5 against Jacksonville Jaguars. You have that too?
Yep. Got this one.
All right. So last night, the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Kansas City Chiefs outright. That game was defined by the Chiefs just continuing to shoot themselves in the foot and not play good football. You watch the first part of that game, and I could tell right away this is going to be a Jaguars cover. I didn't expect it to be a Jaguars win. I expected Jaguars cover just because of the fact that the Chiefs are playing sloppy. They're not finishing drives. There's penalties that are killing them. They're getting these big explosive gains, but they're always shooting themselves in the foot. The Jaguars had the ball on the 1-yard line, get stripped out of Trevor Lawrence's hand, right? Dumb play by him. The Jaguars are still not a good football team. I don't care that they beat the Chiefs. And I think we're going to start to realize that these wins over the Chiefs just don't mean as much moving forward. Like it's a big deal for the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat the Chiefs in primetime. Don't get me wrong. But as the weeks go on and on, more teams are going to be beating the Kansas City Chiefs. With that being said, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars and Liam Cohen have no concept of how to use Travis Hunter. I think it would be in their best interest to put him on the offensive side of the ball full time and get him the football, because he is way more explosive than anyone they have. Brian Thomas Jr., as great as he was last year, he looks bad this year. Trevor Lawrence cannot get the ball down the field. They really struggle in all areas of the field, like all areas of the game. They're not a really good football team. Defensively, I know that's kind of kept them in games, but they're just not that good offensively. They had no excitement on the offensive side of the ball unless it was Travis Hunter catching the 3 passes he caught last night. They got to get him involved in the offense more. You drafted him to be a feature receiver realistically because of the fact that you just don't have a lot of talent there beside Brian Thomas Jr. So I love the Seattle Seahawks here. I don't think the Jaguars offense can keep pace with them throughout this football game, especially what we saw against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Jackson Smith-Njigba continues to perform. Sam Darnold lights it up, and they get the job done.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm more confident in Sam Darnold than I am Trevor Lawrence. I had a conversation with one of my buddies during the game last night, and I just texted him. I said, it's legitimately shocking to me that Trevor Lawrence is not a good NFL quarterback. I still, from everything we saw, he was the number 1 recruit coming out of high school. He was just phenomenal in college. It also seems insane to say that he never won a Heisman when he was in college, when it felt like he was in the race for 3-4 years and he never got one. But Trevor Lawrence just isn't good. Now he made a real big time throw late in that game up the right side to Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, that was incredible, but he doesn't do that on a consistent basis. The interception wasn't his fault. Got to put that out there. The refs absolutely blew that one. That's the type of call where people say the NFL's rigged and the refs are calling things in the Chiefs' favor. But Sam Darnold's, like I said when we were talking earlier, Sam Darnold's in my MVP race. He's top 3 MVP candidate right now. Trevor Lawrence cannot keep pace with him. If Seattle doesn't run the ball great, I guess that's an advantage that you'd give to the Jags. But the Jags defense has also carried them to this point. And with their personnel, I'll be honest, I think they can still be okay, good, above average, but I don't think they're going to continue to be elite. You look at the numbers, they've got like the number 1, number 2, number 3 defense in the NFL right now. And I just don't know that that's going to continue, while I do think Mike McDonald is one of the smartest defensive minds we have in this sport. I think he'll do some things to confuse Trevor Lawrence. So I will also take Seahawks plus 1.5 there on the road.
So we're both on our 5th pick now.
Correct.
So does yours involve Sunday Night Football?
It does not.
Okay, good. All right. So that works out well then. Detroit Lions plus 1.5 at the Kansas City Chiefs. It scares me to go against the Chiefs at home. I think the Chiefs need to bounce back. I think they need a win. But I just can't get over the fact that the Detroit Lions are a much better football team than the Kansas City Chiefs. Like in no world should the Detroit Lions be losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. I know it's an outdoor game. I know Jared Goff struggles outside. But offensively, there is so much more explosion from this Detroit Lions team than the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not even funny. Defensively, the Lions, I will take them on an equal playing field with the Kansas City Chiefs. If the Chiefs don't respond here, I'm going to be very concerned because they can't really be 2-4 on the season, I don't think, and have a chance to be a top seed in the AFC. So they kind of have to win, which is the reason to take them here. But the Detroit Lions are playing really good football right now. I think we kind of lost hope on Detroit after week 1 against the Packers. Turns out that was just a bad performance from them, and they are the best team, one of the best teams in the NFC right now. So I got to go with my boys from Detroit.
Yeah, this one, I'm not betting this one because I'm with you in that the Lions should win. They are the better team. There's just something about the Chiefs being counted out at home with Patrick Mahomes. Like we see it against the Ravens. And obviously the Ravens are 1-4 right now, but the Chiefs hadn't scored 30 points in like 30-something games, and they hang 37 on the Ravens to avoid falling to 0-3, I think it was.
Yeah,
0-3, 1-3, whatever.
Ravens are terrible. They are terrible.
They are, but the Chiefs just do this at Arrowhead, and you know this. Like, this isn't breaking news. Mahomes, and I get the Chiefs are favored, but it's just 1 point, so it's basically a pick 'em. And Mahomes is the best underdog in NFL history. Andy Reid is the best underdog in NFL history for coaches. Actually, he might be number 2. I think Tomlin's number 1, but still, right there. I'm just going to stay off of it. I think the Lions are better. I actually know that the Lions are better, but I don't know they'll win this game, even though they should.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, and I'm watching Patrick Mahomes last night, and I'm like, all right, this is a game, prototypical Chiefs game where they don't cover, but they win the game on a last-second score, a last-second field goal. I even thought they were going to work their way back into field goal range with 20-something seconds and a couple timeouts last night, but it didn't work out for them. And I think that kind of Patrick Mahomes allure that you feel like he's always going to win the game is kind of starting to fade in my mind a little bit, so I'm okay going against him here.
It is. And also his deep ball throwing. I brought this up maybe even last year, but he's been one of the worst deep ball throwers in the league for the last couple of seasons. And you saw him late. He was trying to go to it when he needed it to get his team back. And he overthrew whoever it was, Thornton, and then he threw another ball into like double coverage. And then late he threw one up the seam into, I forget if it was cover 3 or quarters, but like there were defenders all over the place. He just doesn't have that. He doesn't have the big magic moment the way he did before. He can still extend outside the pocket. He can still scramble for first downs, but that big death blow doesn't have it anymore, at least right now.
Yeah, he's not Tom Brady. That's all I'll say. I think the GOAT debate is over.
No, it's not over. He's in year, 7 of his career? He's got a long way to go.
He's got to be great late. That's what made Tom Brady really the GOAT.
Yeah, because Brady was obviously in that conversation, but he won the 3 Super Bowls, and then he didn't win another one for another 10 years. But then he was still sensational at the end. So definitely that's going to be what decides it.
Yeah. All right, Grant, what's your last pick?
Well, so I'm actually real quick before we move on. I am just looking at the Chiefs' schedule. So they've got the Lions here. They host the Raiders. They play 3 straight home games, which is good for them. They play the Raiders, which you expect them to win. They got the Commanders on Monday night, which is not a walk in the park. And then it's a short week on the road at Buffalo. You have a bye week, but then you are at Denver and you host the Colts. Short week at Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Texans aren't good, but then it is the Chargers. You do play the Broncos again. So this is not an easy schedule. And if you fall to 2-4, it could be a 9-8 sort of year.
They're going to get in. They're not going to miss the playoffs. They will make the playoffs because they're the Chiefs. And they will probably beat Josh Allen in the playoffs because Josh Allen can't beat Patrick Mahomes. So that's kind of where I'm at with this team right now. Like, they're still going to be in. They're still going to make a run. They could be 9-8, go on the road. They'll beat the Bills because Josh can't beat him. But, we'll see what happens.
My last pick, and this, you did 5, right? You're good?
5, yep. I did 5.
Okay, so my final pick, I'm going to get us out of here. I'm going to take the Patriots minus 3.5 against the New Orleans Saints. I took the Saints to win outright last week. I was all over that one, so I don't want to see overreactions, or rather, I'm not interested in hearing overreactions from everyone else. Like, oh my gosh, maybe the Saints are better than we thought. And I'm not trying to call myself a genius here. That's not what I'm doing. But what I'm saying is I did expect the Saints to win. I saw the path. I saw the cover. It didn't come out of nowhere. They didn't do anything that surprised me. I don't think they're a good team all of a sudden. You look at their numbers compared to the Giants' numbers, they are extremely similar. The difference is Jackson Dart, the ball slipped out of his hand, and they got an 80-yard scoop and score off a Scadaboo fumble, and then they picked off Jackson Dart twice. When I'm looking at Drake May's been the best sophomore quarterback so far this season. Now, I obviously think Jaden's going to respond, and we saw how good he was against the Chargers, but Drake May's continued to ascend. Vrabel has got this team rolling. They lost that game. They lost the game to the Steelers where they fumbled 5 times, and then they blow out the Panthers. They beat the Bills outright. They're confident. They're starting to believe in themselves. You saw Diggs' usage really increase. He had a big day in that Buffalo game. Antonio Gibson's out for the year with the ACL injury, and that's terrible. But I'll be honest, I think Travion Henderson is the best running back they have, and they've refused to give him the ball up to this point. I feel like they're going to be forced to do so now. And you're going against the Saints team. Spencer Rattler is 1-11 in his career as a starter. He just got that win. I'm not saying that he's going to be content, but I feel like they're going to be a little too high on themselves, not ready for the physicality that's coming their way. So Patriots win, potentially in a blowout. I think they win by 10+.
Yeah, I agree with that. I had this pick as well. Like, I was looking at it. It just, you come off a big win against Buffalo, probably one of the biggest wins your franchise has had in years.
Since Brady left, yeah.
Since Brady left. And, you think Drake May's on top of the world. And, Stephon Diggs has 100 yards. Stephon Diggs not going to be a 100-yard guy this season. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I think you might see him come back down to normal. 3.5 is an interesting line. I would think it should be more 5.5 if the Patriots were that good, truthfully. So I'm a little hesitant there, but I do like if I'm picking a side, I'm taking the Patriots.
Okay, well, there we go.
That was our spread picks for the week. Thursday night football preview, spread picks in the books here on the show. We're going to keep it rolling here, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, smash the subscribe button, like the pod, share the pod, check out WSN.com. And Grant, take us out of here. We'll be back on Friday.
Yes, guys, that is going to do it for this episode. Tanner and I appreciate you all being here. Once again, one final time, if you did make it this far, hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds out of your day. It is the easiest way to support us and to support the content. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because we do have clips coming out basically every day. We got full episodes as well, all that great stuff. And check out WSN.com if you're into sports betting in any shape or form. We will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.